This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Well, good morning and welcome to the Grow Omaha show. I'm Jeff Beals, your co-host. We are the only show in the metro area that is focused on construction, real estate, economic development, business expansion, all those things that go into making Omaha an even more prosperous and vibrant place. We're brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. And without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who is absolutely legendary in the real estate brokerage business, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, everyone.
Well, good morning, Trenton, and we want to remind everyone that the latest edition of the Grow Omaha Brad Williams Construction Market Report video update has been released, and you can watch this video on the Grow Omaha YouTube channel. You can see it on growomaha.com. We even have a link to it on our Facebook page, and everyone always looks forward to that because Brad goes through so many properties. And I'll tell you, in the third segment today, we are going to be talking about some of the things that are in that video in this edition. But Trenton, it's probably time to go to the news, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
And that news is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Eagle Mortgage knows mortgages. They've been in the mortgage business for more than 30 years. Holly Schneiderwind and her team over there really take good care of people who are going through one of the most complicated and stressful processes of their life, buying a house and financing it. Well, if that's you or you're thinking about it becoming you sometime soon, one of the first things you want to do is talk to one of the mortgage brokers over at Eagle. And they can help you. It doesn't matter whether you're going to go conventional, if you're going to do the FHA VA route. Any of those are fine. And you can talk to them virtually over the phone or in person. Their office is at 114th and Davenport. You can find them online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. Well, the big news, Trenton, is that we have our very first edition of Grow Omaha Eats with Sarah Baker Hansen, our new Grow Omaha restaurant reviews that came out on Thursday afternoon. And the first restaurant reviewed was Koji. Great, fun to read review. And you can find that review on growomaha.com by clicking on Eats, E-A-T-S, in the navigation bar. And of course, Trenton, if people don't get the newsletter, because the reviews are always in the newsletter, you can sign up for it at news@growomaha.com. But it just seemed natural for us to start working with Sarah to bring restaurant reviews to our listeners and our readers because we talk a lot about restaurants.
No question about it. And she was in the Omaha World Herald for 8 years. You didn't see her picture in there. She's kind of incognito. And she is an incredible person, but also an amazing food critic. She knows the culinary arts. She knows all the contacts in the industry, and very excited to have her as part of our team and be in the newsletter. She has her own blog as well, and it's good to see her getting the exposure she deserves.
That's right. So Koji is the very first restaurant review for the new Grow Omaha Eats with Sarah Baker Hansen. Now, we're going to do these not every week, every other week. So the next one will be coming out on June 16th, and we'll see what she reviews on that date for review number 2. Well, we sometimes like to share some national real estate stories with you, and we do that by looking at CoStar. CoStar is a data and analytics company that covers the commercial real estate industry, provides information for brokers and developers and investors. And there was something on CoStar this week that caught my eye. Trenton, did you realize that Sears is still around?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. They're closing a bunch of them, though.
Yeah, roughly 90 Sears hometown stores across the U.S.
They're following Kmart's lead.
Set to close. Yeah, and I find it amazing how long some of those chains that are clearly in decline will hang on and linger. Like there were, up until just this year, a couple of Kmart still in a few random places.
Iconic, but yeah.
And then there was a Blockbuster video store or two that lingered for
right,
years
exactly.
and years after all of the others closed
and
down.
Then Family Videos looks like they're on their way out if they're not already out.
Yeah, that was a tough model. It is interesting how a business model can be so robust and almost infallible for a while, and then a few years go by, no longer exists. At any rate, moving on to other items in the news story. Trenton, you know the Keyline building,
Sure.
which is at 17th and
Where
Harney.
Takechi Jewelry was.
Yeah.
I sold it one time.
I remember that. We did sell that, didn't we? That was at a previous company, right?
Yep, World Group.
Yeah, you had that listed.
We
back
can say
in the
World
day.
Group.
And every time I drive by now that Takechi's jewelry store closed, but every time I drive by 17th and Harney, I always see that sign. It's almost kind of iconic. At any rate, developer plans to upgrade that building. Looks like a $6.8 million renovation project. Shamrock Development here in Omaha, which has done a lot of urban projects.
Our friend Mike Moylan.
Yeah, great stuff that he's done downtown and his colleagues. It's 61,000 square feet, 7-story buildings, and it looks like it's going to be small offices. And that would kind of be consistent with a lot of those buildings that are right within a block or two of the Douglas County, Omaha City Center, because a lot of attorneys like to have small offices within walking distance of the courthouse. And at any rate, that whole area of downtown will get kind of a little bit of a boost, I think, if this Keyline project goes through, and it went through planning board this week. Okay, moving right along, we also want to mention something out of Creighton University, the Mid-America Index. Dr. Ernie Goss does this at Creighton, and I'm looking at the press release that Creighton University just sent out. And it's technically called the Creighton University Mid-America Business Conditions Index, a leading economic indicator for a 9-state region that goes from as far north as Minnesota to down south in Arkansas. The area had revenue growth, was above growth neutral for 24 straight months, so that's good. But basically, we saw it sink a little bit. It's still a 60 on a score of 0 to 100. Anything above 50 is revenue positive, but it's fallen down from 60 in May. That was down from almost 66 in April. That was down from the month before. So we are seeing a trajectory, and if you look at a lot of other indicators, both locally, regionally, and nationally, it seems like some things are slowing down, and we do have some economic challenges upon us.
There's no question about it. We need to button down the hatches, and the head of J.P. Morgan Chase is kind of has a negative outlook about a hurricane coming, and we just don't know whether it's going to dissipate or pick up steam. So, figuratively, and
yeah, that hurricane was a metaphor that he used.
Absolutely,
saying that.
But we're just glad he doesn't think it's a tsunami yet, so that's good.
Well, that's good. But he did. In fact, they played his quote on KFAB Thursday morning, and he said something like, "It could be a mild hurricane or it could be an Andrew. We don't know, but a hurricane is coming nonetheless economically." And when Jamie Dimon says stuff like that, given his position, you tend to listen. Well, turning our sights back to the local marketplace, we have the latest on the future Warhorse Casino. Plans now call for a groundbreaking of that 67,000 square foot facility sometime this summer, with a planned opening next spring. That would be in Horseman's Park near 63rd and Q.
Are they still using the same building? And
yeah, it's going to be added onto, and then the existing building will be renovated. And so, yeah, I don't know how many times I'll set foot in a place.
Well, it's out of sight, out of mind, so it'll be very interesting to see if they can make 62nd and Q work.
63rd and Q, dude.
Yeah.
Remember the Funplex commercials?
72nd and Q, dude.
70th and Q, dude. Anyway, yeah, it is. It's not like you can drive by and see it on the freeway like you can Harrah's or Ameristar or Horseshoe or anything like that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it does. Probably pretty well, though, because I think a lot of people are conditioned to already go there. Trenton, on a personal note, we wanted to share something that sad event in your family, but a lot of people who listen know the Magid family very well and would probably appreciate you sharing something right now.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. It's time, and a lot of you know, a lot of you follow us on the show, and I talk about my family, and I talk about my mom, Carolyn Schimmel Magid, passed away last Saturday, a week ago, on almost 87 years old. Very talented artist, great mother, had a great upbringing. She did a ton of artwork and was very well known for calligraphy for weddings and different events. But for one thing that most people can recognize is she did the logo many, many years ago for the Homie Inn on Saddle Creek.
Oh, she did that logo?
And she said she wanted them to pick another logo, but they liked that one. So that's the one they got from her. So farewell, Mom. I love you. And I appreciate all the well wishes on Facebook and letters and all that kind of stuff. But I'm at peace with it. She lived a long, full life. And even though I'm an orphan, I've got 2 brothers and a sister, and they're 11 kids, my nieces and nephews, and so I can't complain other than that.
Well, Trenton, I've known your mom for, getting close to 40 years, I suspect, and
yeah,
a lot of good memories with her. She was a person that if you spent time with her, you always had a good time, a lot of fun. So.
And you always know what she thought of you. She did not hold anything back, and I get some of those traits that people tell me.
Well, condolences to you and your family for the loss of Caroline.
Much appreciated.
And with that, we are going to go to our first break of the hour. When we come back, we're going to bring on our good friend Eric Oberembt. He is the head of D&M Roofing and going to be talking about a few things going on in the roofing and construction business. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing, as well as Dingman's Collision Center. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Terry's taking the car, I guess, to the dealership to get a battery changed and tuned up and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
So that means I'm going to be without a car. I don't know how long he's staying in town.
Oh, he's using yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
How did he take that car?
John Meyer just
How did he
tested
take
for
Carly's car?
COVID. He probably got to work it.
24. Yeah, so then 25, 20. Okay, right? Yeah. So 25, 20. Okay. So.
How do people get COVID that didn't? Oh, you know why he tested for COVID, John Meyer, is because he's not vaccinated.
5 point.
And he was at the event yesterday.
Now everyone knows.
And he was positive
Yeah.
yesterday?
Yeah. We're vaccinated.
And welcome back to Grow Omaha, the area's only show dedicated to the growth and development of your favorite city. I'm Jeff Beals, sitting next to Trenton Magid. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. Well, speaking of D&M Roofing, we're going to bring on the owner of said company, Eric Oberembt. Eric, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's been a long time since we've had you on the show.
It has. I've missed you guys.
We've missed you too. And
We talk about you, though.
Thank you.
every Saturday we
Thank
talk
you.
about you.
I feel like, a lot of people talk about me. Hopefully you guys just do it in a good way. Yeah.
We try.
Well, we appreciate
Eric.
you being a loyal sponsor of Grow Omaha, and your company really has been going gangbusters over the last couple of years. How's the market out there?
It's interesting, right? Because things have kind of shifted in the last few years because we haven't gotten the storm, issues that we've had in the past, right? We've all been so accustomed to having hailstorms and, big windstorms and things like that. And we haven't really had that. So our company has shifted to more of a retail, model to be able to help our clients and find them solutions and things like that. So, but things are good for us. I know that there's a lot of people that are struggling out there, but I think that we're a little bit different because we are able to pivot and, and figure out how to keep helping our clients.
Hopefully it's not as difficult as it was this year for the snowplow guys that had maybe 2 or 3 snow removals.
Snow is. I did that like 2 seasons, and that is literally the worst job in the world. So yeah, it's awful. I would never do that again.
And the way the snow falls, it's always middle of the night.
Yes, yeah. You're out at midnight and it's wet, and it's just awful. I would not want to do that again.
So roofing. Sorry, Jeff.
No, go ahead.
So you're doing a lot of new roofs that were either you're doing a lot of repairs of roofs right now.
Yep.
But roofs that are kind of aging out and need to be replaced.
Yeah. So we've really started pushing big repair programs because the last thing any commercial owner or property management company wants to do is replace a roof, right? I mean, nobody wants to spend $1 million on a roof. So we've really been pushing repair and maintenance programs and coming out and helping find solutions so that they can have time to start budgeting, for those projects. And then, we hopefully show the value in what we do by being that partner with them, so that when the time comes to do that roof, to replace it, we're just automatically the guy that takes care of it for them.
So you're talking, and we'll get into some of that stuff that you do to prevent bigger expenses in a moment. But I do want to also ask you about a couple of big issues. And one of them is supply chain. We keep hearing about people who are in the building businesses, like roofing, having such a hard time with that. What's it like for you guys, and how are you coping?
So it's the struggle is real. We can get shingles, generally speaking. Low slope is a little bit more difficult. The thing that we're very blessed with is that I made a decision some years ago to go all in with certain suppliers and manufacturers. We're not the company that goes shopping at Menards to go find the cheapest shingles or the cheapest material to try and save $5 a square on a project, right? We went all in with our suppliers and we said, look, you guys are going to get 90% of our business, unless we got to go pick something up somewhere. And because of that, I've been able to make national relationships and partnerships with these people so that when I need material, I get kind of put to the top of the list. That being said, I still never know when I'm going to get it right away. It just gives me an opportunity to get a little bit faster than everybody else. But we have projects that we'll bid out that will tell ownership when we bid them out, it might be 2023 before we can actually get the material. And then I like to under promise, over deliver. And then I make phone calls and chew a little butt if I need to. And I will end up, getting the material a little bit quicker. If we have to go ship it in from, Texas or Missouri or whatever, we'll find it and get it in. But it's not like it was before. To give you an example, where I had a conversation with a commercial owner the other day. We were on the roof and I said, we need to put 3.5 inches of ISO on this roof to get it to energy code rating, blah, blah, blah. And I said, 3 years ago, I'd say, hey, I'll just go order a 3.5 inch piece of ISO and we'll have it in 2 weeks. We don't do that now. It's, do you guys have 2-inch ISO? Do you have 1-inch ISO? We'll put it together. Like, what's the easiest thing to get? What do you have in the back room? That's what we'll buy. And we just buy it up. I mean, if we're at the supply house and my commercial production manager's in there, he'll call me and be like, hey, they got 20 rolls of TPO hiding back here. You want me to buy it? And I'm like, yep, buy it. Just buy it all.
Every one of them.
Buy it all. I got a warehouse. We'll store it and we'll be ready for the next job. So that's the reality that we're living in today. And I hope that in the next year it starts to come back to normal so that we can, not have to have these awkward conversations with people, because literally our pricing is good for 30 days. We have price increases every 2 months now on material. We just had a price increase yesterday. Again, I think in the last year, we've had 4. So if you look at a bid that I gave you a year ago to now, it literally probably went up 20%.
When's
just
the last
because
time
of
there's
material.
a price reduction?
Never in the course of history. And the irritating thing about that is that they always blame it on oil, because so many of our components are made out of asphalt or whatever. And they're like, it went up because of oil. Well, oil goes down.
Right.
So why doesn't my price go down? And it just doesn't. And then people don't believe me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so we have to have that conversation. It's like, look, and I show them. I'm just super transparent, and I'll show them. I'll bring them every letter that we get from suppliers and manufacturers to say, look, these are the price increases that we took. I'm not charging you more for labor. I'm not charging you more profit, like anything like that. But I have to pass this on, and it's just affecting everybody. I mean, we all know what's going on with inflation and everything else. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, I can imagine it's awfully difficult trying to keep up with all of that. Well, as we are in this environment in which there are challenges, there are also a lot of opportunities.
Correct.
And understand that you've got a new program and a new product that you're using on a lot of multifamily roofs, multifamily complexes. You want to tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. I'm super excited about this. At D&M, what we really try to do on a day-to-day basis is we try to find new solutions for our clients so that we continue to provide them some kind of value, right? And so I've been literally brainstorming for the last 6 months going, how do we give something else that's going to help them? And we partnered up with a company called Ugly Roof. And what Ugly Roof does, it's a horrible name, but it's a great name because it does explain exactly, what we're working on, right? So you have an apartment complex or a multifamily that has maybe a 10, 15-year-old roof that's starting to age out. You maybe have 5 years left in it before you're going to have to start budgeting for CapEx expenses to replace this roof. That's going to cost a lot of money, right? So what we do is we offer what's called a roof tune-up, where we'll come in, and the things that always fail are granule loss. Pipe boots start to go old, like those no-caulks that go around your soil stacks from your bathrooms, exposed nail heads around vents, all that kind of stuff. That's where you end up getting leaks. So we come in and we do a roof tune-up on the entire property, and then we have this product that actually rejuvenates the shingles, and we spray it on. It's got a fancy oil in it. I'm not a scientist. I've got videos that can explain it, but we wash the roof, install this oil, and it actually will. So if you have like if it's starting to crack, starting to curl on the edges a little bit, the shingles aren't sealing down because of that. It'll actually make the shingles more pliable, and it'll allow them to lay back down, reseal, and not have any more granular loss, so that we can get you another 5 years or so, and the roof will look brand new. So you've seen them when you drive around, you see they're starting to streak, right?
See it all the time.
Yep, they start to streak. This eliminates all of that. So now you have what looks like a brand new roof from curb appeal standpoint. You have a functionality addition to it because you're not losing granules. We've resealed and we've repaired everything that's wrong with the roof. Now you have time to budget, and hopefully you can run it out of OpEx money as a property management group, so that you can throw it into nets, which obviously is beneficial, for ownership and everybody. So we're really excited about this. I'm excited to get in front of a lot of people to tell them about it, and see the value that we can bring to them.
Hey, on more of a personal note, you're heavily involved in an organization called Roofers in Recovery, and I want you to kind of touch on that a little bit before we wrap up, and talk about some news that people might find interesting there.
Yeah, have we ever talked about Roofers in Recovery?
I think we have.
I don't know. Maybe it's been a while.
Okay, yeah. Well, real quick, what Roofers in Recovery is, I'll just tell that first. A couple of years ago, a friend of mine, Paul Reed, who owns Northwest Roofing out in Denver, he and I are both sober. And he called me up and said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could send one person to treatment a year just to give back? Because we both went to a rehab facility and it saved our lives. And I was like, sure. What does that look like? Like, I don't even know what that looks like. And he was like, I don't know. Let's throw 10 grand into a pot and see if we can send one person. So we did that, and all of a sudden our phone started ringing off the hook with people that wanted help. And so we were like, wow, we need to make this real. And so we turned it into a real 501c3, and we started doing fundraising events and all that kind of stuff. And in the last 2 years, we've sent over 20 people to treatment.
That's great.
Awesome.
We decided that wasn't enough, and we wanted to be able to send 50 people a year to treatment. To do that, we need to raise $750,000 a year to be able to afford that and add admin staff and all that, to run the day-to-day. So we came up with the idea of having National Roofers in Recovery Day. So we got contractors across the country to sign up, and on June 3rd, which after this would be yesterday, we wanted to get 150 contractors across the country. I think we've got around 80 to 100 signed up right now to donate the profits from one roof that's built on that day. So pay your subs, pay your suppliers, and then donate just the profits of the roof to Roofers in Recovery. And if we can get that done, we can raise anywhere from $400,000 to $600,000 in one day. So then we can focus on actually helping people and sending them where they need to go to get that help and help put families back together again. So this is the day, right? Like June 3rd was the day, and we'll know next week if everybody honored their commitment. So this is a really big deal. So we're really excited about what can happen.
That's awesome. I know you've been outspoken about recovery, and you've done an amazing job encouraging other people to get the help that they need, and you're very open about your trials and tribulations, which is part of your process, and a lot more people should follow your lead.
Yeah, it's been a journey. There's a lot of people out there that don't want to talk about it because of the stigma associated with being in recovery and addiction and alcoholism and things like that. And we're literally trying to change the conversation, and we're trying to change the narrative, because in roofing, I mean, let's just be frank, it's a very male dominated industry, right? and it's full of a bunch of alpha males that don't want to ask for help, right? I mean, I didn't want to, right? I wanted to figure it out on my own. And we're trying to we go to conferences and we speak on stage and talk about it and say, you don't have to be afraid to ask for help. We all did it. And that's why I'm so outspoken about it, because I feel like if one person can see me opening up and not being ashamed of my past and the fact that it got me to where I am today, that maybe they can do the same thing. They can step up. They can make a phone call and say, hey, man, I don't know what to do. I need help. And then that gives us the opportunity to help that one human, right? And that changing the life of that one human is going to change the lives of hundreds of humans down the line, with the ripple effect, with a wife, with kids, with family, with what happens with his kids' kids, because they didn't have to grow up in that same atmosphere that could have happened if he didn't get the help that he needed. So like, we're trying to make literally like legacy changes in people's lives.
Well, it's
very noble
stuff.
cause.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Eric, we appreciate you joining us today, and always appreciate your sponsorship of Grow Omaha, and continued success to you and your colleagues at D&M Roofing.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
D&Mroofing.com.
There you go.
You got it. All right. That was Eric Oberempt, president and owner of D&M Roofing. When we come back, we're going to have our commercial real estate development spotlight by Noddle Companies, and also we're going to talk about a bunch of projects going on around town. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Okay. So when you at Omaha?
We start driving June 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Pete involved in that insurance business?
No, not right now. So what's funny is that we're actually trying to recruit him to eventually leave his company when the owners eventually sell, because like they've been valuated at like a lot of money. So I
The
think
company he's at now?
yeah, the firm that he's at now.
So he has that?
He's got some ownership, but once they exit, like we want to try and bring him on to what we're doing.
Are you guys looking for money or?
No, we've got a money guy in Seattle. He's our big partner. He owns 42% of the company, so he's backing all the money behind it right now. So we haven't had to invest. Like Paul and I haven't had to invest $1. So that's been good. But I think by this time next year, it'll be generating significant money. Hopefully.
Let me know.
So, yeah. Okay. I will. Because it might be a thing. Because like if this blows up,
Roofing's my life.
is it? I'll get you a shirt that says that.
He spends a lot of time under them.
That's funny. So I'm excited about it. Like this is the retirement opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is the retirement deal that could go on for a really long time. Because if we get written into policies, because that's the other thing. Obviously, this is being recorded. That's not good. But
It's okay. Only about 50 people watching.
The big attorney I was telling you about in Dallas, he's literally trying to get legislature passed in Texas that gets our endorsement written into commercial policies,
Right.
that you can only have an RCB policy if you agree to use the ART endorsement.
Oh, that's
And if
awesome.
that happens,
That's
oh,
huge.
shit. Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, that would be really big. So
Yeah.
a lot going on.
You sold your
You sleep.
scuba house?
I just had land.
Oh, you never built down
I
there?
never built.
Where was it?
Cayman.
Cayman.
Yeah.
Do you ever sleep, Eric?
You know what? I actually do a pretty good job
Yeah.
of like,
Delegating?
like I mean I do. I get 8 hours.
Good for you.
Yeah, I get 8 hours.
You have a lot going on.
I got a lot going on, and then the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, we do the podcast every week, so like we've had that going.
How many
for-
views do you get, do you know?
We're on Apple, Spotify, Google, and then YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And so I have to check with Lexi. We get quite a few. Like it's starting to blow up.
That's awesome.
Do you think it's got you business or got you who?
No, it's not about business. Like I don't even talk about work in it at all.
What's your podcast about?
It's called Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out.
Okay.
But it's targeted to Like just general people, not just in the construction or roofing industry.
Yeah, my audience right now is probably more industry, just because that's who knows me really well. But we started bringing on guests that are outside of the industry to start getting more reach. So like I literally brought on a rapper the other day that got shot, and like had a conversation with him, and then I went to Dallas and interviewed this guy named TW Mock. That's the most recent one, and actually like you should watch. It's so good.
Just be authentic or get the fuck out, and you can find it.
You can find it anywhere, yeah. And his name is TW Mock, and he runs this giant restoration company. He owns like 7 private jets, and he also is a, for lack of a better term, like a war dog. He's a war profiteer. And so he literally flies into country and like buys and sells tanks and rocket launchers and all kinds of shit to, like he lived in Iraq for 9 years.
What was the date of this one?
When did it drop?
Yeah.
Tuesday.
So you do it once a week?
Yeah. But like we had like 9 in the can, and then like she dropped them every week and she edits them and all that kind of stuff. And then we're taking a month break while I move, and she'll just drop segments. So we drop like 3 segments a week on Facebook.
Oh, geez.
So like 3 5-minute clips from each episode with links to the full episode to get people to watch. So what I learned is that we kind of went after the Rogan model, where a ton of people watch Rogan's clips, right? Like that are 8 to 10 minutes long, and he gets this huge audience from those 8 to 10 minute clips. And then there's a portion of those people that go watch the entire hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever he does, right? But his audience grew because of these 5-minute clips. And so I got Lexi literally taking the best 5-minute clips out of the entire episode, posting those, and then that's what's starting to drive traffic to the other.
And if people listen to just those, they still get some value.
They still get value. They're still becoming a follower. They're still becoming a fan. They're still becoming whatever. And I'm still getting out there. And we talk about roofers and recovery a lot. I have people on that are in recovery space and things like that. I've had some really cool guests, and then we've already got 20 guests booked out for season 2 already for next season. So we're doing like 20 to 22 episode seasons. And so
how long are they?
Anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. And then Pate and I are going to actually start doing a live broadcast twice a month, since we'll be living 6 blocks from each other. We're literally just it's going to be funny and just riff on current events and just have a good time with it. We did that, if you end up looking it up, it's like a 3-hour episode where we did a live broadcast in his house, and we just talked for 3 hours
about
and
stuff.
It was hilarious. His wife came down. We did call-ins. We did it on StreamYard. So we had people like calling in on the video and all that kind of stuff. So so it's on. You can watch them on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. I think Apple Podcasts is our biggest listenership, and then we'll usually get about 100 to 200 full YouTube views. But then it's the Apple and the Facebook that like really blow up.
They really blow up.
With impressions and stuff. So it's been fun.
Oh yeah,
it's been fun. I definitely I don't do sponsorship, so I can say whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, that's true.
Because nobody's paying me, and nobody can tell me what I can and can't say.
So obviously it's self-fulfilling.
Yep.
But it's a commit.
Yep, that's it.
All right, good. All right, let's go.
Yep.
Get out of here.
Sorry, guys.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
We haven't seen you for a long time.
I saw Ricky B at my mom's thing.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And he's the one that spilled the beans.
He's the one that told us you're moving.
Yeah.
Well, come on, move.
He loves telling secrets.
Okay, these are going to be short segments. Okay. All right, are we ready?
Yep.
Okay. Ready, all right. Okay. So what we have planned is just, I'm going to go through some of the projects on Brad's video this month.
Okay,
We're
great.
going to talk about some of them. So, okay, we ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
And welcome back to Grow Omaha, the area's only show dedicated to the growth and development of your favorite city. I'm Jeff Beals, he's Trenton Magid, and we are brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. You know, a lot of people know Dingman's as a place where you go and get your body work done. Yes, your car gets keyed, you're in an accident, something like that. You run over a curb and you scrape the side of your car with a yellow traffic bollard. I don't know. If you do anything like that, that's when people think of Dingman's. But a lot of people don't realize they also have mechanical services as well. If you need Dingman's, you're going to be comforted because they take good care of people. They have 4 Omaha area locations, and we strongly recommend them for the needs that you have with your automobile. Dingman's Collision Center. Well, Trenton, let's go into our commercial real estate development spotlight, which is brought to you by Noddle Companies, noddlecompanies.com. And, Noddle Companies has a lot of developments around Omaha, and one of their best known and most famous developments is Exarban Village. We got a couple things about Exarban Village to report today. First of all, we have a new restaurant going into the Inner Rail Food Hall. The Inner Rail Food Hall is the really cool food hall that is right behind the HDR building at Exarban. And in the former Ola Mexican eatery space in the food hall, we will soon have Reagan's Lobster Roll. Reagan's Lobster Roll. I love lobster roll places. In fact, a lot of times when I'm on the East Coast, they have those, and everywhere in the East Coast they have those lobster rolls. Those things are amazing. So I hope this place is as good
Isn't
as
it like
I
on a
anticipate.
hoagie, like kind of a bread?
Oh, yeah. Or sometimes it's a hoagie, or sometimes they'll take like a
We had that in
piece of
Boston.
Texas toast and fold
Yeah.
it over. Any rate, Reagan's Lobster Roll coming to Exarban. Also, just north of the Inner Rail Food Hall, last year, Noddle Companies at Exarban created an outdoor plaza where they have all sorts of little fun things to do, seating. They've got that Airstream trailer that serves food and drink out of it. They have the little greenhouse. I noticed when I was there this week that crews are putting in some new, I call them arbors, but those wood structures that kind of shield the sun a little bit. Sometimes people build them over their decks or their patios. Some of those are going in, and that's all part of those upgrades there, like making the dog park bigger. And I tell you, if you're there on a nice day right now, the activity level in and around that public space in Exarban Village is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I had lunch with Sam Noddle, who's a big part of that, and yesterday, and I told him that he needs to have a cat park.
A cat park? Because, you and I, in our households, we both own cats, don't we?
Absolutely.
Where the hell do you take your cat?
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Cat fights, maybe? Owners have to be responsible for their own cats, though, so no cat fight breaks out. We need to go over to Exarban sometime and eat at Saffron. I really love it. And then go get a Sazerac cocktail at Herb Sant afterwards.
Yeah.
You game?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Bring it
That
on.
is your Noddle Companies commercial real estate development spotlight for this week. We really thank Noddle Companies for their support. Other developments that they have in town include Steel Ridge, River's Edge, the Builders District, Block 180, and others. And you can find out more about them at noddlecompanies.com. Told you at the beginning of the show that the new Brad Williams construction update video is out, and you can get that at growomaha.com by clicking on shows or on the Grow Omaha YouTube page. And a lot of times when Brad releases one of those videos, we like to highlight and talk about some of the projects that are on it. So you can go watch the video to see what these look like. But a couple of things that he reports on this month's episode will be of interest to you. He starts with the Gene Leahy Mall, and that opens officially on June 1st. Got a couple of big names that will be, did I say June 1st? I meant to say July 1st.
I was going to say, they moved it back?
Yeah,
Moved it up?
it was a few days ago. A couple of big names coming in for that opening weekend right before 4th of July. But in the video, Brad kind of shows some of the bits and pieces. And one of the things I thought was interesting, the little plaza area that is still sunken, much of the mall is no longer sunken, but the part immediately east of 10th Street is still sunken right by the Greenhouse Apartments building. They have they saved those old orange lights that kind of have that 70s look that I've always kind of liked. Those are still there, which will be kind of fun. What's going to be very interesting, though, Trenton, is to see what impact that park has when it's done on not only surrounding development in downtown, but just the feel of street life down there.
Absolutely. And I think that, and it's a process, but that park is just beautiful. And the coolest thing about the Brad Williams construction update is visually you can sit in your office or at your home and get a tour of Omaha and all these projects that are going on, and then you can decide if you want to go visit them for yourself. But he labels the video, he talks about them, and gets you out and about and shares how great our city is.
Well, after highlighting the Jean Leahy Mall, Brad takes us in the video over to Creighton University, where you can see construction progress on the $75 million C.L. Werner Health Sciences building. This is on the northwest corner of the campus. More specifically, it's on the southeast corner of the North Freeway and Cummings Street. This building is 5 stories, and all of the steel, if not all of it, most of the steel structure is in place, so that's going up really fast. And of course, that's only one of several construction projects.
And they took down a building just to the south of that.
Yeah, the old Gallagher Hall, which was a 1960s era residence hall. They have longer term plans for something to be constructed on that site, but I think that's still a little ways away from what I read.
A lot of demolition and redevelopment going on.
Well, it's funny you should mention demo, because another of the things that he highlights in the video would be demo at the Med Center. Now, we know billions of dollars of construction are on their way to the Med Center. Not ready for that yet, so we have to do some demo first. And in the video, he shows the former Jiffy Lube on the corner of Saddle Creek and Leavenworth has been reduced to rubble on purpose. And that's going to be the southern edge of the Innovation Campus. And then you can tell that the old Monroe Meyer Institute and the former J.P. Lord School, those are getting prepped for demo to happen like imminently.
For the next project.
Yeah. And that
literally the next project.
Yeah, the next project is next, as you may want to say. Another project that he highlights is renovation project on the historic building at 14th and Jones, which will become the downtown branch of the library. That, I tell you, is on a fast track. So we can get the old one demoed here, hopefully at the end of the year. And Trent, have you driven by Steelhouse Omaha? That's the performing arts venue between Capitol and Dodge lately.
So cool.
Yeah, you can see the LED sign that will be on the back or north side is already kind of in place. Cannot wait to see what that looks like when it's done all lit up at night. I bet it'll be, well, kind of bright probably. So that's some update for you on a couple of projects in and around Omaha. I guess, well, there was one other one that I wanted to mention too before we wrap this up. He also has video footage in this month's edition of the site where a 9-story building will be constructed immediately west of the Kimpton Cottonwood Blackstone Hotel. 9-story building, 161 apartments, ground floor retail, 4 levels of parking garage. They have to demo an existing 3-story house, which has not yet happened, but the barricades and fencing are around the site. This week they started tearing up the concrete that was in the parking lot. That's going to be a landmark. 9 stories right there in the middle of Blackstone. Should be pretty cool.
Absolutely. I can't wait for that.
Well, let's wrap up this segment and get ready for the Turner Construction Lightning Round, which is coming next. Lots of good things that you want to hear about. You are listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing, and we'll be back right after this on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Finish it right at 9 minutes. Okay. So,
How much do we have left?
we have a nice short. Okay.
Lighting room.
Mine, 4 3/4 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so 4:45. All right, and with things I have on the docket, a couple things with the zoo, the cat complex being torn down, the giraffe dying. We got the new restaurant, Bawarchi, Indian cuisine, and
Was the cat complex indoors or outdoors?
It was both.
Oh, yeah.
It was both. And
They're rebuilding a cat complex? Yes, sir.
cat house? No, they're dispersing the cats into more natural displays related to like where they're from. So like they would have the lions and they have the lions in the African display and the tigers are now in the Asian.
What's his name?
display.
Pedro, whatever, is retiring, right?
Yeah, I don't think they've announced the new one yet though, have they? Okay. All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Are we gonna finish strong?
Yeah.
All right.
And welcome back to Grow Omaha. This is Jeff Beal sitting next to Trenton Magid, and it's time for the Turner Construction Lightning Round. That's when we cover a variety of things in a short period of time. Thank you so much to Turner Construction for making the Lightning Round possible for you. Turner Construction, you know them. They've been in the market for a long time now, doing some of the biggest projects that we've ever seen in the metro area, like the Sarpy County Data Center. But they also work on small projects well, interior finishes for retail spaces or small offices, medium projects, everything in between, and they do a darn good job of it. We recommend Turner Construction not only because they take care of their clients and they provide good projects on time and on budget, but we also recommend them because they're very civically minded, doing a lot to help the built environment and getting people ready to work in the trades. So thank you to Turner Construction, sponsor of your Lightning Round. Well, let's start with the zoo first. First of all, some bad news. The oldest giraffe in the herd at Henry Doorly Zoo, 22 years old, Dottie was her name, spent her whole life at the zoo. She was euthanized this week because of failing health. And a lot of people don't realize that the giraffes are one of the biggest draws at the zoo. We have a big herd.
They're awesome.
Yeah, so they're one of my favorite things to see.
Especially during feeding time, when you get there and they close it off and you can see them all waiting for food.
Yeah, they all cluster there. Yeah, I love the giraffes. But R.I.P. Dottie of the zoo. And speaking of the zoo, the cat complex has been demolished. And Trenton, you and I, we're both Omaha natives. We grew up here.
Wild cats destroying their home.
Come again?
Oh, they didn't do it themselves?
No. And they are not running free just because the cat complex has been demolished.
Cat play.
Does not mean that the cats are out there wreaking havoc on the other animals. They have been placed elsewhere. But
they're in cat houses?
When we were kids, that cat complex opened, and it was like world class. Like people's minds were blown by it. And they had tunnels that could connect and move cats from cage to cage safely. It was cutting edge stuff in the zoo world. And it's funny how things change, because in its last years, people criticized it for not being a very good habitat and all that. So as the standards for zoo exhibits changed, the cat complex, which was once world class, became obsolete. So let's talk a little bit about restaurants. We have a new chain restaurant coming to Omaha, but it's going to be something you haven't seen a lot of in this market, a chain of Indian restaurants. And it's called Bawarchi Indian Cuisine. It's of the biryani style. It's going to be in the former Sea Thai restaurant space at 17903 Pierce Plaza. Translated, that's 180th and Pacific. But Bawarchi has 50 locations. Closest existing ones are in the Kansas City area and near Des Moines, Iowa. Now, we don't have the date 100% confirmed, but the owner is shooting for June 9th, so very, very close. And this franchise owner is the same person who owns Astoria, locally owned Indian restaurant on 108th Street, which is outstanding.
Yeah, good place. Kind of over by Maru.
Yeah.
And where Valentino's used to be.
Couple restaurant closings, Hunger Block in Rockbrook, Angus Burger in Gretna, and Spudnuts Donuts in Elkhorn have all unfortunately closed shop. But some good news, the old Hunger Block space in Rockbrook does have a new tenant going in called Pulled Barbecue Omaha. Was originally a food truck and now going to be a bricks and mortar. We're going to be doing a live remote from Dragon Walk in Nebraska Crossing on June 25th. And the Village Inn at 138th and Maple will open soon with a mimosa bar inside. That's it. The music's playing. We are done. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.